I am Sanket Singh, and today we'll be talking about React Profiler, React Profiles, and a bit of performance optimization as quickly as possible. Just a quick intro about me. Currently, I work at Google. If any one of you has used Google Pay, I work in the Google Pay team. And if there is anyone whose 50 rupees is still stuck, please don't contact. I don't know where is it. Okay. Prior to that, I worked as a software engineer at LinkedIn in India. I love spending time in teaching and training a bunch of students as well in different algorithm data structures, DBMS, and a lot of things. Marvel and DC fan, but I did not raise my hand when somebody asked it. Sorry for that. Okay, so what to expect from the session? So we are going to talk about React Profiler, right? And we are going to see actually about the so-called optimization that we have been taught through the great documentation of React and a lot of YouTube tutorials, that if you do this, this gets optimized, this didn't get re-rendering, and so on and so forth, right? So let's start talking about it. So just another day, you create your next React feature, just relax, go, just chill a bit, right? And you feel that your apps are fast, right? Because most probably you have followed most of the best cases scenarios and you have written as good code as possible, maintained the readability, wrote test, done everything, right? But then one day, after your release, your manager comes to you and says, what the hell is this? And you're like, why now? Why you're coming now? What wrong I have done, right? The thing is that a lot of times we do use a lot of React components and use a lot of React-based features. But when we talk about optimizations, we have a bunch of things in mind. And if we somehow miss it, then there can be very problematic situations for you, right? Let me give you an example. Let's not talk very advanced level shit about anything around React. Let's talk very basic things. If you have ever heard about rendering of lists in React, then everyone around the internet recommends you that you have to pass that special key prop, that if you don't pass, your browser just screams a bunch of warnings, right? And you feel like, okay, we should pass the key props, and then you have a lot of recommendation, then please don't pass it as index, please don't pass it a value that is dynamically generated on the front end, a lot of things, right? But now we have a tool using which we can actually see that what will happen in case you don't pass that key prop. Rather than just us trusting the documentation and the rest of the tutorials that recommend us that please use that key prop, it would be really beneficial for us to understand things and make things a bit optimized if we can actually see them getting re-rendered again and again if you don't pass that key prop, right? So what if you can make your apps faster? If you want to make your apps faster, there are two-level drilling that you have to do. First is you need to know why is it slow. Then only you will be able to realize how to make it fast. If you don't know the reasoning, there will be a lot of time that you will spend in just debugging your applications, right? Here comes React Profiler in the picture. How many of you guys have used React Profiler or use React Profiler daily? Quite a bunch, right? So React Profiler is a pretty good tool using which you can do a lot of analysis around what are the components are there which are getting re-rendered, and not just that. It also tells you why it got re-rendered, how much time approximately since the profiling started it took to re-render, and maybe we can use this tool to actually see some regular optimization that we do with our React applications. So using Profiler, you can see what's going wrong, right? You can see which component re-rendered, you can see why a component re-rendered, and you can see how much time it is approximately taking to re-render. And using these metrics, you can take decisions around what all things you need to optimize. As I said, optimizations always comes as a two-step process. First of all, you need to know what's going wrong. Secondly, you start optimizing things with all of the great tools that you have, right? So let's deep dive into a bunch of coding stuff. We have quite time constraints, so I have already prepared a very simple application in front of you, right? I hope everybody is able to see it. So if you want to use React Profiler, all you have to do, there is a React developer tool that you just have to install as a Chrome extension, and boom, almost all of the things are done for you. Now what you can do, you can go to your developer console, right? And here you will see a new option of Profiler. If you are not able to see it, I hope now everyone is able to see this. You can see there is a Profiler option and there is a component option. The component option is just going to show you the component tree, that how exactly the components are rendered inside one another, and then comes our Profiler, right? So this is the Profiler, and it provides us a bunch of stuff. For example, it provides us a flame graph, ranked graph, right? It provides all the timeline, what happened, when happened, right? All you have to do is just click on this pretty cool blue button, and it will start profiling your application. For example, if I click on it, and let's start doing a bunch of stuff. For example, I write here that, what about threads? I hope a lot of you guys already heard about threads. And let's say I tweeted. Now you can see already something was going on the screen. Some green highlights were coming up, right? I'll talk about how is that coming. And now you can stop profiling, and you can see all of the interactions, all of the state changes that actually happened are coming in front of you, right? And you can see a bunch of components are there in my code that are definitely re-rendering, right? Now, before you actually take a deep dive in actually optimizing those, I would like to show you a bunch of features of the profiler. So what you can do, you can go to the settings button. If in case you didn't see it, this is the settings button. You can go to the settings button and you can turn on a bunch of settings. For example, you can highlight updates when component re-render. So whenever a component will re-render, it will give a very cool green highlight, okay? And then you can record why each component rendered while profiling. So it will show you that maybe due to a prop value or a callback, why it got re-rendered, maybe the parent re-rendered, that's why it re-rendered, or it is the initial render, that's why it's getting tracked here. Everything it will actually show you, right? And you can also hide the commits on your DOM, which are less than a particular set of seconds, but I have not allowed it. So you can see a bunch of things happened. For example, if I just refresh, we can clear the console, right? Let's say if I just write 1 here, you can see this much part was actually highlighted, because actually that's a component that got re-rendered because maybe some state change happened, right? If I click on tweet, you can see almost everything on my screen is getting re-rendered, right? So using the profiler, you will be able to realize that what all things are actually getting re-rendered that you have to actually target, because most probably you will be having a very mammoth big application, and you can't just take a deep dive into your code and think that what's going on, what's not going correctly, okay? So now if you carefully see, now one more thing that a lot of time we have in our mind, that let's say if there is a component and let's say the props of the components are same, then most probably it will not re-render. A lot of time in the initial days we have this kind of thinking that, okay, if there is a prop and the if there is a component and the props of the components are not changing, most probably that component should not re-render. But that's actually not true, right? If the parent component re-renders, the child component is bound to re-render until unless you take some measures, right? So if I start profiling here, let me just quickly refresh. If I start profiling here, type let's say 1 here, tweet, stop profiling. You can see there were just 2 exact commits that happened. One when I actually wrote that one, and then when I click the button. When I click the button, you can see a lot of things happened. Now if you see this component, that is the like and timestamp component. Why this component rendered? Because the parent component re-rendered. Actually no value has been changed in this like and timestamp component, right? But the parent component is re-rendering, that's why it is bound to re-render. If I show you the quick implementation for this, you can see, I'm not sure if you are able to see this, let me zoom in. You can see there is nothing much. There are just 2 props that I have just passed there, and these props are not even changing, right? For the first tweet, nothing is actually changing, but because the parent component re-rendered, this child component will re-render. Now again, we already know a lot of tricks that we can actually use in order to save a bunch of re-renders, right? For example, we can use something like React memo, right, to actually cache this component. So let's go step by step. So you can see I have prepared most of the things already just to save time. So I'll just comment this out, and instead of exporting like my regular component, I'll wrap it inside the memo so that now after the initial render, until unless something actually changes, React will cache it. If I save it, let's see now. If I refresh, clear the console, start profiling, click on one, most probably one commit happened, then tweet. And now if you carefully see, this component was not having the green highlight. And if you stop the profiler, you can see that here as well. The likes and timestamp, this did not re-render. So see, whenever you make a update, you are actually able to visualize it, right? That's the best part, okay? Now, similar things we have that we can do. For example, now if I go to the tweet component, right? Currently you can see what's happening whenever I add a tweet, everything is getting re-rendered. Although the above tweets are same, similar problem. The props are same, but the parent that I have is actually re-rendering. If the parent re-renders, you are bound to re-render, okay? So, let's do simple stuff, no crazy engineering at all. Let's memorize it, okay? For the time being. Again, you can have more tools and more use cases that you can do in order to optimize your stuff. Let's clear profiler, refresh, let's start profiling, and keep an eye on that green highlight, okay? If I click on one, tweet, you can see I memoized it, but still the component, the tweet component actually got highlighted. If I save it and see what happened, you can actually realize there is a prop that changed on edit, which is nothing but a callback. Now you might be thinking that post memoization still why there is a change? Because in the parent component, we have a callback that we are passing to the child component. If the parent component re-renders, that callback instance is going to be a new one. And I guess everyone knows how to solve it. Use callback, right? As I said, simple optimization, no crazy engineering at all. So what you can do, I'll go to the Twitter one, right? And again, I've already prepared it. So I'll just uncomment this, comment the non-use callback one. So you can see I've wrapped it inside a use callback, okay? Save it, refresh. Let's start profiling. I'll again type one, tweet, stop it. And now you can see this component did not re-render. Cool, right? So using the profiler, you are actually able to see what went wrong, what went good, okay? Now, coming back to the thing that I started with, if you remember that key prop, okay? So, if I clear the console, so here you can see I have a button sort tweet by created at, okay? If I click on it, you can see everything is actually coming up like this, right? Now, inside tweet list, you can see there is a key that I have actually commented out, right? Now, let's start doing the profiling, okay? Let's add a bunch of tweets. Hi there. Tweet. Let's start profiling. One second, I guess I just made a quick change there. Okay, my bad. Okay, sorry, I was playing with it. Okay, let's add a tweet, another one. Okay, this got added. Let's start profiling. If you see, when I clicked on sort tweet by created at, what happened? I currently don't have the key here, and everything got re-rendered. See, now let's try again. Let's profile again. Hi, tweet. And now if I click on sort tweet by created at, see everything got re-rendered. Why? Because we are missing that key prop. The moment you put that key prop in place, profiler will help you with everything. So now, if I say another tweet hi, start profiling, and if I click on sort tweet by created at, what do we expect? We don't expect the components to re-render, right? Components didn't re-render, you can stop the profiling, and you can actually see, right? These components were not re-rendering. And similarly, you can make modifications, right? So that's what I wanted to say, that in case you want to make your optimizations, React Profiler is a good way to actually see where the problem is, identify that problem, and then you can use your old regular good way React-related hooks, tools, and whatever you have in order to optimize them. It's a pretty cool way to actually visualize stuff. So if in case you are teaching someone, this is a good way to go for. I sometimes use it. So yeah, that was the quick short talk that I wanted to share with all of you. I hope you guys liked it. And if you guys want to connect, you guys can connect to me on Twitter. And yeah, any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you and have a nice day.